Hello everyone, my name is Amir Khan and I'm super excited to have the second user session for ALM Octane today. And we have a very nice guest from a local partner here in Switzerland. It's from Quality Now, one of the gold partners of Micro Focus, especially in the DACH regions. They are covering Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and have one of the most expert consultants on Micro Focus products. And I will be talking today to the CEO of Quality Now, Roman Wildberger, and asking his view on different topics when we are talking about Octane, how they are seeing the transformation from Quality Center to Octane, and what are the different areas they are focusing on in their current project. So really excited to have Roman Wildberger here, and we'll just connect to the meeting and we will start with the interview. So finally, we have Roman Wildberger with us, the CEO of Quality Now. I'm super excited to have him here. Really honored to listen to his experience, actually to the experience of his consultant and the projects they are implementing in locally and in the DACH region as well. So mainly we will talk also about the transformation from QC to Octane and what are the differences and how customers start their journey with Quality Now and what are the focus areas. So really excited to have him here. Thank you, Roman, for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Amir. So first of all, it's a huge honor to be part of your webcast series here. I've seen the first episode, and this was very cool. So thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. So Quality Now is, I know it, and I know other customers who know it, the local partner of Micro Focus. You guys are mastering our products. Can you explain us more background on Quality Now, on your consultants, on the topic of projects you are delivering, so we have a better picture?
Yeah, sure. So in a nutshell, Quality Now, that's a one-stop shop for testing. We are headquartered in Zug, Switzerland, and we are serving customers really from all branches, not only in Switzerland, but also in Germany and Austria, as you already mentioned in the intro. We have a very comprehensive suite of testing services, really that ranges from test advisory over test automation, but test automation, not only test automation, but really all automation topics. That includes also RPA, very hot topic. I guess you guys know that, right? It goes over test management, staffing services, and of course also tool chain management or tooling services. And then that's where Micro Focus comes into the picture with its ADM portfolio. And you also mentioned it in the introduction. We are Micro Focus Gold partner. And as a Micro Focus Gold partner, we strongly believe that we should not only sell licenses and do installation of your tooling. We should really go beyond that and serve a customer with our experience from many projects that we have done over the recent past. And so we really try to put in our experience into innovative tool and system engineering solutions. So maybe you have heard already of some of them. So our newest baby that I'm very proud of, it is U-boat for ALM Octane.
Very nice, yeah.
So U-boat, that's the German word for submarine. And that's a kind of a search and rescue tool for your lost data treasures, right? So that means everybody knows, I think, the situation. So you're doing something in ALM Octane, then you are distracted. Maybe you just want to delete one test case, and instead of deleting one test case, you delete a whole regression test set.
We all know it, yes.
Yeah. And then you go to your server administrator, ask for restore from backup, and then you have a lot of new friends in your company because this backup not only then affects your workspace, it affects all workspaces. This is exactly where then ALM Octane comes into the picture, because what we are doing with this solution is on each entity. So for example, a test case, if you do a create, an update, or delete, we do a backup of that. And if you really now accidentally delete something, you can just go to your U-boat command center, select the accidentally deleted test case and restore it. So super cool. You also have a good integration. You can do baseline, you can do file comparison and selection, a lot of great stuff. And there's much more, right? We also doing stuff with risk-based testing, or if you like to do SAP testing, that's also something very, very cool. We have also a nice solution there that's called Easy SAP for ALM Octane. So this allows you to import SAP, these Fiori apps with all its SAP context, component names and so on, whatever you require there. You can load it directly into your ALM Octane requirements module, and then together with our change impact service that we also provide with the solution, you can, at the push of a button, then determine all the test cases, the minimum set of test cases that you need to execute for a certain SAP release. And there's a lot more, but I think you don't want to hear too much about our solutions. I think
this is really nice. I think it's also good for the community to understand what is possible. And actually, the U-boat solution, just want to point out on this, this is something really very interesting. As you mentioned, versioning and baselining, I think last time we saw the solution, it was not really providing those features. You were working on it. So I think it's still work in progress, very soon to be released. So one of the great solutions where you are extending Micro Focus products with customs solution in order to help customers managing data correctly, and really if there's a data loss, you can bring in U-boat to rescue the data and restore it back, right? So really nice solution. I have already seen the demo, really impressive. But now when I compare, and I know that many of or some of your consultants are coming from Mercury Interactive, they have worked for Mercury, so you have the right people, you have the right skill set in-house. But now when you compare, you have been extensively working with QC, ALM QC, you have a lot of customers in Switzerland where you are having different consulting projects. And now towards the Octane migration. So what is your advice to customers, when they want to move from QC to Octane? What is your migration advice, or how do you do the migration overall?
So yeah, that's a very broad question, and it's really the answer really depends on the starting point. Mm-hmm. So what is the customer actually, how is he using Quality Center, and what does he want to achieve in the end? So what is his target state that he aims for? So that's why. So technically, it's difficult to give you a concrete answer. But what I can say is the issues that we face in our projects, these are rather. They are not so much technical issues, right? They are rather management or project management issues. So the technical stuff is most of the time very easy to overcome. So you find a workaround, or what I also very much enjoy is working with your R&D department, with your R&D colleagues. So they are very, very nice and very, very helpful. So as you mentioned, we have decades of experience with Quality Center. With ALM Octane, of course, that's not the case. That's why also there sometimes we do not see sometimes a solution on the first glimpse. And then it's very, very cool to work with also with the R&D guys, so that they help you and maybe point you towards a certain solution. And in case there is not really a quick win or a workaround that we can apply here, then they also give hand to maybe create a patch and do something like that for you. This is really something, they are really customer centric. That's really something I really much enjoy when I work with them. But as said, so technical singing, I think that's not so much of an issue. So when I say, I think I see it rather on the project management side. And I mean, if you ask me to give you an advice in this area, I would say it's rather 4 pieces of advice that I maybe can give you here. So first and foremost, I would say get the buy-in of all relevant parties. that are involved somehow here in this ALM Octane game. And make sure that you have the right senior stakeholders of all these parties then in your project steering committee. Mm-hmm. Because you will often see that you go into a certain department and you need something. I mean, maybe be it something simple like a server, but you don't have the right priority there. Then it's always good to have the boss or the boss of the boss of this guy in your steering committee that can make things moving then for you. Secondly, I would say when you do all this setup, right? So you do the installation, you do the first configuration and so on. You need to test that somehow. So you need to pilot your ALM Octane instance. So you need the right team. You need to find the right team for that. And here, normally, when you ask for a pilot, what we also often see is that not the right people then volunteer for that, but the people who see that as a kind of career development opportunity or something that helps towards their MBO. You really have to make sure that you find the right team that is mature enough to do this pilot for you, that really is able to use all the functions of ALM Octane that you also really want to do to productize later on. And that you really then also have a regular exchange with those guys so that you then can get feedback and fine-tune your system. Third, I would say you need clearly defined and tested onboarding scenarios and also procedures. Yeah. Because when you want to have a high adoption rate, also with projects and onboard them, then, I mean, if you go into the shoes of the project manager, these guys always want to know, okay, what do I have to do? How much time does it take me? How much does it cost? And so on. So that means if you have these defined procedures and scenarios, then it's very clear for a project manager and they can then decide to also onboard. And on top of that, normally when you start rolling out something, I mean, everything is fluctuating around, is unsure and so on. With procedures and onboarding scenarios, you have clear guidelines, at least something that is rock solid in your project that you can hold on to. And last but not least, I would say you need to pay very high attention to the stakeholder management and communication. So, I mean, we have a saying in German, so we say, do good and be sure to make it known. And I think this is also true for your migration project. So, for example, if we go back now to this pilot, if you have a successful pilot or even if a successful milestone somewhere, make sure that you maybe have a senior executive or so that talks about that. Maybe is doing a little webcast as we do it right now, or is writing a blog entry or something like that, so that he really, because there are people, they're following them and they see, okay, there is an opinion leader, a role model, and he likes that. So maybe I like it too now, even if you don't like it in the first place, right? So I think these are the four pieces of advice that I would give somebody.
Great input, by the way. Thank you, Roman. I think one of the great points I liked about it is what I also see in other projects is user adoption. Definitely, you need to make sure that the users who working with the testing tool, could be Quality Center or any other testing tool, and now moving towards Octane, that they get the right feedback at the right time, are involved maybe also in the pilot, and can drive also, can give their feedback during this transformation. So thanks for this. There are also other topics, like when you do this kind of migration with your customers, and they are coming, from QC especially. Now installing Octane, I know you are not technical, but maybe can you tell us about what is the benefit when it comes to the deployment itself, as the architecture of Octane is different, definitely. It's built on modern technology stacks, while as QC is a bit older and was built on the times modern stack. So what's the difference here? What do the customers see when they install and apply and deploy Octane?
Yeah. As you said, it's a modern application. Really, it's a greenfield application, a greenfield development from the recent past. And there is no legacy or so that you have here. This is definitely something that you notice also on the installation process. I mean, on the one hand side, you can look at the backend components and the server. I mean, you can do it still in the old-fashioned way, but with these recent developments, you also have containerization. You have Docker container, and that's definitely something that is appreciated by our customers. And I think this is a huge difference, technically seen. Also, that you don't have an ALM Explorer anymore, or a Launcher, or whatever there was with Quality Center. So now you just have a browser and an HTML5 interface with all its convenience. You can zoom in and zoom out. You have a responsive design. You can change your language and so on. That's super cool. So that also you don't have the hassle anymore with packaging something, right? That's more the technical side. But I also see some advantages on the non-technical side when it comes to deployment. I think when you look at the server component, I mean, it's still the trickiness level is still high also for an administrator to learn how to deal with the system. It's different, definitely, to what we see with Quality Center, but it's still tricky. But when you look at the user side, it's much easier. So it's so intuitive to use. You have these tooltips, you have this help everywhere, and that really you don't need this 1 week classroom training anymore, as we have seen that for quality centers so 3 years ago. And now you can more or less give that to the user and say, hey, make your own experience, and the guys they're able to catch up with the system.
Yeah, so this is also the common feedback we have received also in the last session, that if you have worked with QC already as a user and you have years of experience with it, so it's much easier to find your way into ALM Octane, as it provides user experience which is nice, as well as it's intuitive to use and supports multi-browser. So this is really very good feedback. And you guys from Quality Now have been promoting, also with your solution you built for ALM Octane. So you have been promoting ALM Octane through the last 2 years very hard in Switzerland. So what is your point on having ALM Octane as a must-have solution for software delivery lifecycle? So what's your take on this?
Okay, one thing that is super cool is, I mean, you have this open architecture with ALM Octane, and thanks to this open architecture, all the tools you are using in your DevOps tool chain, whatever, you can easily integrate them with ALM Octane. And so I would say, I mean, if you integrate that, you have a single pane of glass then there. So for me, definitely it's this this dashboard that you then have in ALM Octane that really is fueled by all this information, and you can slice and dice it as you want, and you can really get a lot of insights. So that is super cool and really makes it as a must-have solution for you. But I would also mention that you see ALM Octane, that's one solution. So I mean, beside this one single pane of glass that we just talked about, I mean, ALM Octane is also enterprise agile framework friendly. There's a lot of stuff you can bring in there. It offers an integrated quality management, customizable workflows. It has an integrated security testing, seamless DevOps integration, and really a complete pipeline delivery. So I mean, this is really one solution. And so if you don't want to leverage your existing tool investment that you have in your DevOps tool chain, you can really also replace a lot of tools with ALM Octane. But the cool thing is you don't have to. You are free. Really, the degree of freedom that you have here is enormous, and that's very cool, and that's why I really like that solution. Yeah, that's a must-have for me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Also, this is, the freedom Octane brings for you as an organization, that if you are having developers working, for instance, in Jira, they can keep on working in Jira. We provide different solutions like MF Connect and the Jira plugin, where you can bring all those data, as you mentioned, into this single pane of glass and have a one unified view and create dashboards based on this. So it's really the openness and the flexibility Octane provides. And this is also what we see in the market and from our customers here as a feedback. So thanks for this information, Roman. So I have one last question. I don't know if this is too technical for you. I don't think so. But and you have been working in the past as well with Octane, also in the very early beginnings. Any features you want to promote? Let's say, what's your favorite feature in ALM Octane?
Okay, I think that's an easy one. That's an easy one because I really have one favorite feature. So personally, what I really like is this insights and analytic features that ALM Octane provides. So, I mean that's a huge thingy, of course, right? But there's one thing in particular that I like, and I mean, ALM Octane that really knows everything you do, because I mean, if a developer is working on a user story, ALM Octane knows it, of course, right? It also knows the commits that you are doing and so on. And I mean, normally, you know how it works, right? You're coding all day long, and then in the evening, you're checking your code. Then the application gets compiled, it gets deployed, you automated tests are running. Then you maybe find some defects, or normally you find always defects there, especially in the early development phase. These defects can get put into ALM Octane, and they are directly assigned to a developer, because ALM Octane knows who most probably has had to create this defect or is in charge of this defect. So that means in the morning when you enter your office, so it's not that you have to have all your developers around you, and then you have a list of defects, and then you have to argue, okay, who is taking care of what defect? No, now you have it directly in your system, and whenever somebody starts, he opens Octane, he has his dashboard with his work items, and he says, oh, there's a new defect for me. He can look into it, analyze it, and sees, oh yeah, that's a defect that I have caused. So he can directly start working on it. Maybe the others have not even joined there or not even entered the office. Or maybe he says, yes, let's do the Shaggy here. It wasn't me, and just passes on the defect, and then it goes to the next developer that most probably has caused this defect. So you can save a lot of time. That's really something I really like.
Yeah, this is also one of my features, what I love about Octane, the failure analysis. When the pipeline is completed, Octane makes, based on the historical data, it makes recommendation by using some of the machine learning capabilities, and recommends who could be the potential user who has made the build fail. Yeah, so you really pass on the failure, and if you are not the right one, you can really. I love this feature as well. So I'm not the right one, I want to pass it. So really cool. Thanks for the interview, Roman. Really appreciate it. Appreciated that you guys are supporting the adoption in Switzerland and in the DACH region for ALM Octane, and also appreciated the really flexibility and expertise you bring in to our customer base by building those solutions such as U-Boot or Easy SAP or the test data management you guys have been building. So really thanks a lot for this. And any last words you want to tell the community?
No, it's all good. Thank you very much, Amir. So again, thank you very much for having me, and then yeah, have a nice afternoon.
Okay, thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. So, guys, that was the interview with Roman Wildberger, the CEO of Quality Now. And I will link the solution he was talking about, like U-Boot and also the test data management solution, as well as the SAP. I will link the Quality Now website down below in the description, so you can check out the solution and get in touch with them directly. Really nice way how they are delivering the solutions around ALM Octane. And also, if you need any kind of assistance around migration, integration topics with Octane, they are also a great contact to ask. So that was it from my side. We'll see you next time in the user session. We are planning a couple of sessions with customers in the next 2 weeks. So looking forward to this. So far, thank you for watching this, and until next time when we have the next user session.